All right, welcome back to episode 2 of Hot Takes No Breaks. My name's Andy. I got Dalton here. Dalton, what do you drive?
What's up, guys? I drive a 2013 Volkswagen Jetta on bags.
Fuck yeah. Jacob?
Uh, I drive a 2009 single turbo 1 series.
And then last but not least, we have a Hudson.
I'm just here so I won't get fined, and I drive a beat up piece of shit 2003 Honda Element. Also, I'm the non-car enthusiast guy in the group.
All right, and with that being said, into the first segment, we're talking about first cars. And what you guys looking at is Dalton's first car. I believe this is a Chrysler Sebring, right?
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful specimen.
Chrysler Sebring.
Look at that beautiful specimen.
All right, you wanna give us what's going on here?
Yeah, look at. Can we zoom into the face right there? Look at that pure happiness.
Yeah, that was the happiest day of your life.
That is just pure joy.
Yeah.
16 years old, first car.
That is 16-year-old you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on 16.
There it is. Look at that.
Yeah. So it's a 2001 Chrysler Sebring, and I think it had the 2.4 liter naturally aspirated motor in it.
How much power is that pushing?
Oh God. Maybe 150?
Oh God.
Yeah, pretty slow.
How
And front wheel drive.
how long did you have it for?
I had it for a year and a half. I thought I could drift a front wheel drive car through a roundabout. And I hit a curb and I bent the frame.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dalton wasn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed when he was 16.
That
I
sounds
do remember that.
that sounds like a familiar situation that we've had. So far, in our group. So far, a curb has claimed 3 of our cars.
Yep.
Well, except for mine. But we'll get to that one.
You hit a guardrail.
I guess
get to that one.
we'll get to that one in a second. How'd you get it? Like, what's the story of you getting the car?
So my grandfather originally had it. He paid, I think, oh God, they like hosed him on the deal. I think he paid $9,000 for that thing. And he bought it at, I think, 70,000 miles. So he drove it around for a couple years. He just dailied it. And then when I turned 16, he gifted it to me. So I got the car for free. So I wasn't going to complain. And then I drove it. Yeah, I drove it through my sophomore, junior year. And then I sold it the beginning of my senior year of high school. In the trunk was 3 15-inch subwoofers. So,
Shit.
Oh, shit.
yeah, that thing slapped.
Just imagine Dalton pulling up to the school parking lot, and all you just hear is bass, and his windows are just vibrating.
Yeah, the windows would vibrate pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Every day.
I got a lot of complaints from teachers and students that my car was too loud because of the sound system.
I was gonna say, was your car too loud or the sound system too loud?
Oh God, no! It was completely bone stock. It was all the sound system was so much bass.
It's okay. Those kids were just fucking salty because they had piece of shit Ford Explorers.
Alright, man.
I'm kidding.
All right, I guess Hudson, what do you rate this out of 10 for a first car?
Oh shit, we're actually doing this? Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So the day that I first saw this, I had gotten home from school and I was just like, oh, what's this? A new car in the driveway? And I opened the front door house. And you need to understand, growing up with this man, I had never seen him smile. At least not often.
What?
So, I had not seen him smile often. So when I saw this car and I opened the house and I see him having the keys passed down to him from our papa, this man had the biggest, stupidest grin on his face, but this man was literally doing hip stalks like down the fucking rail, get into the car. And then that's when they took that picture. And the first thing Dalton did, you went to like the gas station, right? And you got yourself like Mountain Dews.
Probably.
Yeah,
That sounds about right.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Too young for Modelo's at the time.
Oh, absolutely. It was quite interesting. So overall, I mean, right into the backseat of that car for about like a year or two. Yeah, I lost. There's a reason why half of my hearing is shot these days because of Dalton alone. But overall, I mean, good experiences, good times. You know, just sit in the back, and I mean, I would just cruise listening to his music, and I would hit everybody's vapes, and I'd go absolutely clouded in the back. But that's fine. Overall, I give this car like a solid 7.5. So, I mean, it is stock. It was bare bone dry, except for the sound system. The neighbors would complain a lot too about the car too, and I remember that was just the funniest shit that I would watch. Like our neighbors just knocking the door and being like, "Can you tell your son to turn down the fucking car?" And then my dad's just like, "What the fuck do you want, bitch? Like, what do you want me to do about it?" My dad literally said, "He's just a kid. Let him be," and then shut the door on them. So good times.
This has got to be the story of how you got the car has got to be the most like Chrysler Sebring passed down story I've ever heard. Like this is like I feel like every kid with a Chrysler Sebring has gotten this car from a grandparent.
Oh, yeah. I don't actually think anyone the age of 16 would go out and be like, yeah, that's the one. A 2001 Chrysler Sebring in gold with fake chrome hubcaps.
Were they donuts on hubcaps?
They're Steelies.
Steelies, okay. All right. We're going to Jacob. Jacob, this is not the actual car, right? We were talking about this before
It's
we
not
started.
the actual car, but it's completely identical to what I had. Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious because of when we sent this into the group that we have, you're the only person that had a mod list for your first car. You had a Steeda axleback and an intake. Lol.
Yep.
You want to talk about that?
Damn.
I came home from school on my 16th birthday to that in the driveway, and I walk inside, and my parents are like, "How'd you like your new car?" And 16-year-old me was fucking stoked to see that car outside. Was it fast by any means? Hell no. I think from the factory made 160 horsepower.
Hell yeah.
From a 2016 Focus SE hatch, and I didn't know what I was doing. It would have been my junior year, sophomore year is when I threw the intake. It was the junior year of high school. I threw an intake and an axle back exhaust on it. It sounded god awful. The car gained maybe 10 horsepower at the most.
Oh.
That's ambitious.
So that puts you up to 175 horsepower, right?
I would say maybe it made 165, 170. And I mean, the intake sounded cool. It was my first time having a car that made sound. It was my first time having a car in general. I beat the piss out of it. I got the car from my parents with 12,000 miles on it, because that would have been 2016, and I got it in 2018. It was a fleet car, actually. It was what the dealership used as a loaner car, and I actually never did an oil change on that car.
Jesus, Jacob.
How many years did you own it?
I had the car for just over 3 years.
Oh my god.
Wait, let me rephrase that. I got 2 oil changes in the lifespan of that car.
Oh.
And they were all done at the dealership.
And where did it end up? Where did it go?
I ended up trading it in to Linwood of Infinity for my 135i.
Okay, so you didn't sell it to some poor kid that is driving a bomb around.
No. I never did a single piece of maintenance to it besides those 2 oil changes. Neglected the fuck out of it, but it never had any issues. And it allowed me to save up a shit ton of money with that fuel economy, though. I was getting like 34 miles per gallon.
Holy shit.
And so it allowed me to save up money to not only trade it in, but also add cash on top of that for the 1 Series. And yeah, my buddy got a Focus too because I had one and he thought it was the funnest shit. We would go beat the piss out of him. I was full throttle. I'll have to find a clip that we can throw in on here. Full throttle. It took 30 seconds to go from 60 to 100.
Oh my god.
I think. But I drove the shit out of it, and it started making some noises towards the end of its life. The
I-
suspension was creaking.
I wonder why.
I would blow through speed bumps.
Oh my god.
I got yelled at by the security guard at my high school for ripping around the parking lot at lunch.
Those are the good days, though.
And I used to go into church parking lots on weekdays after school and pull the e-brake.
Oh my god.
I would power slide in local church parking lots and everything. My friend got his Focus and tried to do the same thing and ended up sending it into a ditch. So I had a lot of fun with the car. It wasn't a piece of shit. It actually did really well for the time that I had it. It's probably not doing too well now. But yeah, that's the life of my old Ford Focus SE.
Jesus, church parking lots.
Church parking
Damn,
lots.
talk about doing something unholy. All right, I'm
Oh
gonna leave.
man. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
God, you edit that out in post.
Yeah. All right, I'll see myself out the door. I just had to make that shit joke once.
All right, Hudson. Give us a rating for Jacob's first Focus for first Ford.
For a first car, that's not bad. Like that's pretty
That's
good for a first
it's
car.
yeah. I'd say that's pretty good.
If it looked just like that in the picture, like that's very clean. And he got it at pretty low mileage, and it was a loaner car, which can be hit and miss as the quality of the loaners took care of it, but still a pretty good first car.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I beat the piss out of the car, but I kept it very clean. I was always washing it. I was always cleaning the inside of the car and everything. But I guess the car's probably somewhere at a shop now.
If not in a boneyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably dead.
Yeah, it's done.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry for the poor soul who bought a modded Focus SE.
Parentheses on modded.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a muffler delete. It was just another muffler and a dual tip exhaust on it. I didn't even know that companies even made parts for these.
Oh my
I
god.
was late for work because I couldn't install the intake.
God damn it, Jacob.
The intake actually didn't fit. So me and my dad just forced it in there and called it a day, and I drove to work
Oh my god.
to go wash dishes at a local pizza restaurant.
Oh God. That's the most pizza boy car I've ever heard.
No, Honda Element is the most pizza boy car you've ever heard.
God damn it. Well, Hudson, what's a rating? What's a rating on this?
I mean, it's a decent first car. I mean, this is one of those cases where all I do is look at you in the eyes, Jacob, and say, and you wonder why your shit doesn't work half the time. Because how you treated this car, I mean, come on, man. Only 2 oil changes in its lifetime.
That would have been about 38,000 miles. It got
Jesus,
2 oil
Jacob.
changes.
How is that thing still alive and running?
It's not probably.
It's not.
Every time you drove it on its bare bone, it was like, ah,
It's just screaming.
yeah, pull me
Which
over.
is kind of ironic because I do an oil change every like 2,000 miles on my car now.
Oh well, yeah, you got a lot of money. into
Yeah,
it
because
now.
you have to.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So as it goes, I mean, it should. If I got that as a first car, I mean, I would probably I'd probably take really good care of it. At the same time, I still wouldn't clean the inside because I still suck at that. But I'd still clean it decent on the outside. But I mean, overall, I mean, it's a good first car. I give it I don't know, like a fucking 8, like a solid 8. It's not bad. I mean, definitely. If you actually invested money into it and like did some modification, like other modifications to it
Yeah.
besides what you did like to it, I mean, it would have been a really good car.
And I mean, now that I'm kind of remembering a little more about the car, I also had a sad boy sticker on the dash.
God
Oh,
damn it, Jacob.
no.
I did.
The biggest sad boy hater here.
I'm now a sad boy hater, but I used to have, the sticker that was like trending like, fuck, what would that have been? Like 4 years ago. And it said, I'm fine. And then when it was upside down, it said, save me.
Oh yeah, that one.
I had one of those on my dash.
God damn it,
And the sync system, like the audio and everything,
Yeah.
actually broke.
Oh my god.
I didn't have music that played in that when I traded it in.
Oh
How long did you
man.
run around with no music?
I used to take a portable speaker with me.
God
That's
damn it.
actually hilarious because my first car had the same issue. I guess we'll just go straight into me then, because that's like the perfect transition. All right,
Oh.
so this is my first car, my first E90. similar story to Jacob's. It's like 17. It wasn't waiting for me at home, but I came home, and my dad walks downstairs, and he tells my mom, "Guys, I bought a BMW," and we're like, "Oh no, what'd you do?" So apparently this was a car of his old coworkers. It had 125,000 miles on it, so
Oh,
it was it was up there, but like it was like a family car. We got it for like 5,500 back in, what would that have been, like 2016, 2015. It's, I think this is space gray E90 325i. Like this thing maybe made 150 horsepower to the rear wheels, and
Not even a 328.
no. This is a 2006. This is the first year for the E90. So like it was hideous. If you like, I hate pre-LCI E90s now because of this car. But this car was honestly so much fun. The first thing I did with it, on it, I don't think you can see it from this picture, but those tires are actually Federal 595 RSRs
Oh no, not
on
on a
on a
325.
325. And this road, I keep Dalton. This is the road I tell you to go drive on. This is John Chuckanut, and
Oh, is it?
and so this is my freshman year in college. I would come out of class, have nothing to do, and I would just go rip this car up and down Chuckanut. And the best thing,
For people that don't know the tire that you just like, what is that? What is the purpose of the tire for people that don't know tires very well?
a Federal 595 RSR is Federal's like track tire. Like
Okay.
like this tire is meant this tire is the equivalent of an R888R on a
Okay.
car that made 200 horsepower on the crank from the factory back in 2006.
Keep in mind, he is driving around a summer tire in the rainiest state in the
Yep.
U.S.
And I'm still doing it.
Still doing it. Yep.
But this car was honestly so much fun because of the tire, because it would grip like crazy when it was sunny, but as soon as it got wet, it was like, it felt like the car had like 5,000 horsepower.
Christ.
And I sucked at parking it. You can probably see it right now, but that front right corner of the bumper is absolutely destroyed because I would hit every single curb on it.
Good lord.
And I left it bone stock for the longest time. I mean, it was always bone stock other than the tires. And then like the sound system went out like just like in Jacob's Ford, but it went out, and like after like 3 months of having the car, it went out. So
Oh,
I had the car
How
for
long-
3 years. So I had the car for over 2.5 years without a sound system. I just carried like a little JBL speaker that sat in the center console, and that was my sound system.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And oh god, this is so stupid, but there was a time, a time span when I first got the car for like the first summer, and I wanted to put a turbo on it. I wanted to put a turbo on an N52. I had no idea what I was doing. I did so much research just to find out that I just sell the car. So after 3 years going to college, I took this thing to college, and I would drive this thing. My freshman year of college, I would like drive back and forth from Auburn to Bellingham a lot. And I think in that year alone, I put like 50,000 miles on, or not 50,000, 15,000 miles on the car in 9 months
Damn.
when I was at school. So I drove the shit out of this thing.
Yeah.
I whipped this thing around parking lots. I whipped this thing around corners. The traction control was almost always off on this car. It was beat. And unlike Jacob, I did do my oil changes. Every 2,500 miles, I did an oil change for this thing. And so I drove the car from 125,000 miles when I first got it to 155,000 miles. So that was the 3 years I owned it. And then my dad kept driving it for a bit, and we finally got rid of it at 185,000 miles. The only issue with the car was oil seeping out of the oil pan gasket, which is a common BMW thing, but nothing else ever went wrong in the car. It's the most reliable car I've literally ever owned.
Yeah, it's just a naturally aspirated inline six.
And I honestly, it's a piece of shit. Oh, this picture's not in it. My mom backed into it too. So the hood.
Of course.
So I was parked behind. Normally, the way that my parking works in my house, my mom parks in the garage, my dad parks out in the street, and I park in the driveway. But I park like to the right of where my mom would be, so she has a clear path to back out. And she normally doesn't work weekends. So a Friday night, I came home and I was like, okay, I'll just park right behind her, so then my dad can park in my spot in the driveway because it's raining. And I didn't think, but she went to work on Saturday and she works like 3 a.m. So she's just used to just flipping the garage open and just backing straight out. And her MDX literally backed out and sat on the hood of this thing.
Oh,
So right where the badge is and the kidneys was like caved in and the badge like came off and we never fixed it. So if you ever see a space gray E90 with the front end caved in, that's my first car. It's out there somewhere. And and we bought it for 55 at 125,000. My dad sold it to his friend who used it as a loaner car for his shop. He sold it for like I think $4,000 at 185.
Damn.
So yeah, fun times with this thing.
I guess we'll get into the rating aspect of it.
Yeah.
I'll just go straight into it. Give it a solid 7. I mean, I wouldn't complain with an E90. I mean, the LCI and everything is kind of an L off the bat. But I mean, no issues. Only oil leak was an oil pan gasket, which is a fucking miracle considering it's a high mileage BMW. But it's a solid car.
There are days when I sit here and man, I wish we kept it. Because if we had kept it, man, I would just whip around into this thing and then just have like the project be sitting in the driveway. Oh, it handled the snow like a champ. I drove through a snowstorm from Bellingham back on those 595s, by the way. And it made it like no issues at all.
There was no issues. I was just throwing 360s down the highway.
But yeah, it was it was a fun car. It's a fun first car, I'm not definitely took it for granted when I had it, because it was nice because it let me save up for the E92, the 335. So I finally did get my turbocharged, 3 Series, but not quite in the same way.
Well, I mean, at least you survived, I guess. Question mark.
Somehow.
Until your mom decided to pull a fucking L move.
The MDX ended up being completely fine, like not even a scratch, and I almost lost the kidney grills. But anyways, Hudson, thoughts?
I mean, as far as BMWs go, I mean, one thing you gotta know about me, I'm not the greatest fan of BMWs in the world, and I know I'm gonna get flamed by BMW owners in this. Y'all have the biggest ego heads I've ever fucking met, and y'all don't know when to shut your fucking mouth. But at the same time, I mean, in terms of as far as the BMW goes, it's not bad. Like the build is good, although I don't know if it's just the camera angle or when you took the photo. I mean, it's fine. It looks fine. I don't know, just from my eyes. I mean, what's up with the two? I mean, I know these are fog lights, but like, why are they so small? Is that always how they always are?
No.
They're pretty small. Yeah, that's a stock pre LCI.
Oh, okay.
The shape of them is pretty gnarly too.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. I'm like, why the fuck? But I don't know. That's just me. But I give it like a solid, like a 7 or 8. No, let's go with the 7.5 for now.
Oh, I also thought I was hot shit in this thing. Like I'd be running, trying to run everything.
Were you racing Dodge Challengers on the highway? I'm guessing.
Nah, I was racing Chrysler Sebrings.
God, Jesus.
The only thing it could beat. 200 horsepower from the factory. All right. Well, enough about my car. Let's hop on to I guess another dark gray car. And Hudson, you want to talk about it real quick before I flip to it? I'll just let you talk about it before we flip to it, but since we don't want to spoil it.
I don't, for some fucking reason, I lost all the photos of like my car before this certain event happened. Let's call it event for now, until the picture reveal. But it was a 2010 Toyota Corolla Sport, and it was very stock right off the gate. So I first got it as a New Year's gift back in January of 2019. We got it right out of the dealership, and for the first thing that my folks let me do, they were just like, all right, go ahead, drive around for a bit. And I was like, whoo! And I fucking ripped donuts in that parking lot and just drove in a big fat circle for like 10 minutes while you guys were just sitting there like, is he ever going to stop? Because I was just like, I felt bad in that fucking thing. I was just like, ooh, I'm like, great gas mileage. Everything was beautiful. I was like, life can't get any better. Showing to school and that thing. I was like, oh, this is bad. This is great. So only then not have the car for less than a year. So I had it from January 2019 to good old August 2019. And you some things happen in life, and just go ahead and pull up the photo. And mistakes were made. That's all I'm gonna say here. Once this is revealed,
Oh god,
mistakes were.
is it gonna load?
I really hope it will.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Uh
Are we? Oh, technical difficulties.
There it is.
Up there. Oh god. Oh Jesus.
oh.
So here's the thing. At first, like when this all first happened, like when the shit hit the fan, it was just like literally a normal day. Like my best friend told me, "Hey, I got us tickets to a Tacoma Rangers game," and I was like, "Perfect." So I hopped in the car, started making my way down to Tacoma, and the first thing that I noticed was that there was this big ass white GMC following close behind me, and I didn't know why. And I was just like, "Damn, bro, get the fuck off my ass." And it's the middle of August. It was hot. It was bright. The sun was like perfectly positioned right in my fucking face, and I couldn't see anything, and so it made me panic a little bit. So I kind of hit on the brakes a little bit, but I didn't hit on it too hard. But this fucker didn't even give a shit, and he rammed the ass of my car and sent me fishtailing down a sloped hill, and it did a bunch of turns and curves, and I was literally fishtailing at 45 miles an hour, and this was the first time I actually drifted a car. So let's give it that for a minute. I'm gonna give myself a round of applause for that one. In fact, that was the first time I actually successfully drifted a car, but
Into a guardrail.
into a guardrail. But you know what though? It's better because to find out later, the people that were in the other lane going uphill, because I was flying downhill, I almost ran into a fucking like grandma and her fucking 5-year-old niece in the passenger seat. First of all, why are you putting your fucking 5-year-old niece in the passenger seat of a car? You dumb fucking grandma.
Blame the grandma.
Yeah. What? Well, I'm just saying. There's a reason why it's 12 and over for pass. Anyways, but anyways, so I almost nearly hit the car as I'm literally trying to keep my car under control. Because at that point, I lost all traction of the car. I knew like shit was gonna hit the fan, and I almost ran into this car, and I somehow was able to get it to veer right, like really fucking quick to avoid collision. Hit a fucking guardrail at 40 miles an hour because at that point I lost just a little bit of speed. And then, yeah, the result is what you see right there. Somehow the windshield didn't have a single fucking crack. So I don't know how the fuck that happened. But the whole front was completely fucking total. It was destroyed. Like the engine was fucked. Everything was just completely destroyed in the front. My license plate was missing. I don't know where the fuck it flew off, but it was just gone.
You can see the
Yeah, the
indent
indent of
of
where it
the
was,
license
yeah.
plate right there.
You can see some of the numbers. Some of the numbers.
Yeah, some
engraved
numbers
into it.
indented
Oh,
into it.
You can
Yeah.
tell he went sideways into the guardrail because the whole thing, like
Yeah.
the way the
Yeah, it
scratches were
moved.
across the,
Yeah, it was a little sideways. But the only thing that I remember after that, because the second I hit the guardrail, my fucking head went flying forward, and I literally smacked my head on the steering wheel, and I fucking blacked out for 5 seconds, and I woke up, and I was just like, "Oh shit, I just got into a car
Damn.
accident." So I immediately like put in reverse because I realized I was completely sideways on this road, blocking both fucking lanes. And I knew, well, I can't fucking stay here. I'm gonna block up traffic for miles, and this is a really bad situation. So I literally just took my car, not even down the road a little bit to where it was parked. And I knew, like, because I saw that the white GMC guy was still behind me. But the second I, like, made sure to go left and get into that parking lot, that fucking GMC was gone. He took off going, like, 60, 70 down that road. Like, I did not see him ever again. And so the cop shows up. I'm over there trying to catch my breath and gain consciousness. And at first, it was ruled as what was it? A speeding? Yeah, just speeding down the road.
You were speeding.
Well, apparently I was speeding, but I was ruled off as speeding because the guy fucking took off and didn't even bother to stop and pull over to the side of the road because he knew what he fucking did. But then turns out, and I actually believed them too. I was like, oh well, maybe I was just genuinely speeding, and I got cocky and I didn't realize it. But then to find out days later, when we took it to the shop for its diagnosis, they saw that there was white paint smeared on the back of my car, and they said, "Did somebody hit you from behind?" And I was like, "No, why?" And they were like, "Well, there's white paint smeared everywhere on the back of your bumper, and also it's like bent." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't see that before." And they were like, "Yeah, you should probably like look into that more." And so I then realized I had to recall the police officer that made the case, and I was like, "Hey, so there was new evidence that was found that I was probably hit from behind, and I have a good feeling of who it was." And she was like, "Okay, what do you think it was?" And I was like, the big ass white GMC behind me." And they were like, "Well, what's the description of the guy?" And I was like, "I don't know. He was fucking bald. He was another piece of shit GMC driver." Because they all are. They're all middle-aged dudes with fucking limp dicks who just love fucking not obeying the rules of the road. But needless to say, that was a life-changing experience. It made me a safer driver, and now I drive like a fucking grandma.
For
And,
now.
yeah. Now I drive a beat-up piece of shit Honda Element.
There it is.
The responding officer didn't see the white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. The baddie officer didn't fucking see. Oh, well, maybe. Oh, is that bent? What? White paint on the back of the car? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. It was weird.
She
Dalton-
probably. How old are you when this happened?
I was 19. I had just turned 19 around that time.
She was probably like, "Oh man, look, another kid that can't park."
Yeah, she probably just kind of assumed that I was speeding, didn't even bother to think twice about it. Also, I was panicking and I was hyperventilating because I didn't know what the fuck to do. I literally dragged Dalton out of fucking work just to come pick up my ass and save me.
Yeah.
That's what that little GTI back there.
Yeah,
is.
let's plug the GTI. Of the
I was gonna say.
Good old-
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Good old Mark IV GTI.
yeah. Fuck my destroyed Toyota Corolla. Let's look at the fucking.
Look at the paint shining right there.
Yeah.
Jeez, look at how glossy it looks.
What a clean little Mark IV
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Keep the big intercooler on the front grill right there.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong way.
Wow, that windshield went completely fucking undamaged. That's a miracle right there.
And you know the funny part? You know how you always gave me shit for every V-Dub guy that has cracked windshields? That one had a cracked windshield too.
I fucking knew it.
God damn it.
Every time
Yeah.
I see
Oh.
VW, got a crack.
Yeah, it did. It was cracked for years.
Oh god, I shouldn't. So Hudson hopefully never sees my windshield.
Well, if it's cracked, then it's cracked.
If anyone's got worse luck with windshields, it's Andy.
I'm a
Andy
rock
was-
magnet.
He was actually the one that put a rock through Andy's windshield.
That might be it. That might be the one. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what's funny though? The reason why that paramedic is there is because I couldn't. After the accident, my neck was so stiff because of the whiplash that I got. They thought I was fucking paralyzed for some reason.
Oh my
So they
god.
called the fucking medic, and I was like, "No, I don't need a paramedic. I just need my family down here." And they was like, "Nah, we're calling paramedics anyways." I was like, "What the fuck?" So then we got charged for that shit too. And like to make things worse, my health insurance was expired at the time, so we had to pay everything up.
Oh
front for the
no.
ambulance ride, yeah. And so I was sitting there with a neck brace on my fucking neck, and I think I went to school for a couple days with that neck brace. I think I can't remember, but it was
Oh,
right when
man.
I was like,
Camber right
yeah, it's
there.
got a little bit.
It stands out.
It's just a little.
I'm a little curious. Were you going off of the KP? Like, were you leaving the KP?
I was leaving the KP, yeah, because I was going to Tacoma to go meet up with my best friend for the Rainiers game, Tacoma Rainiers.
Okay, because if that GMC was going like 70 leaving the KP, he was moving. Because those last couple turns leaving the KP, if you're going 70 on those,
Yeah.
especially in a GMC, that's moving.
I was saying that was a Yukon, big Yukon.
Well, from what I remember was it all happened right at the top, so like right at the start of coming down at that hill. That's when it all occurred, and I was just going downhill, and that's when he bumped me, and that's when I started fishtailing down the hill. But we were literally only going 45 miles an hour, which is literally the speed limit in that area. Now, granted, the turn is not, but it's just the general speed limit is 45.
All right, Hudson, you're incriminating yourself now.
Well, it's not incrimination, but it's just, it's like I was able to learn from that. I mean, do I still have a little bit of PTSD driving down that hill sometimes? Yeah, I still do because it almost fucking killed me. But, it shit happens, and, I was able to move on from it. Again, it turned me into a fucking grandma, and everybody shits on me for driving slow. So I'll take that any day.
All right. Let's rate the car now.
All right.
Rate my destroyed piece.
Before it was destroyed, I give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, as a first car, a Corolla is like the perfect first car because you could be like Jacob and never change the oil on it, and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
And
I
probably
think when we got it for him, it only had like 50, 60,000 miles on it.
Yeah, it was still pretty relatively new.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, man, it's
Seat
a
was
fucking
perfect. Yeah.
it's a
Body was
fucking
perfect.
Toyota. It'll run forever.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, if only it didn't fucking total. I'd still have that car right now.
I was gonna say, you probably still have it.
Yeah, I would still have it, and it would have been my car in Eastern Washington for college. But no, it didn't happen. We all know how life happens. But anyways,
Jacob, thoughts?
you know what? If I could get another 2010 Toyota Corolla again one day, I probably would. I'd buy it again. Just why not? Like modify it, do a couple cool
Oh,
things.
God.
But who knows? I get a lot of shit for it and get called a J boy probably, but it's fine. Anyways,
I would give it a 10 if it wasn't crashed.
if it didn't,
If it
crash,
wasn't
yeah.
crashed, yeah.
Yeah.
It really is, in my opinion, like one of the perfect best first car.
Yeah.
Best
it was.
Or just a daily in general.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a
Oh, yeah.
beautiful fucking car. I used to DoorDash with that car a lot, and that motherfucker lasted me forever on gas. The gas mileage was beautiful on that thing. How much was it? Like 30.
$5,000.
No, gas mileage. It was like 35 miles to the
High
gallon.
30s, yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
really,
pretty
it was like
good.
your first car, Jacob. It
Yeah.
was really fucking good on gas mileage. And it drove fast too. It was nice. Like on the highway. Oh my
It's
god.
not fast, Hudson.
Hey, you know what? I
Hold up, hold up.
This is the one that can't go above 100 on a highway with your car.
All right, that's different. I made it do that.
Oh, that's your own goddamn fault.
All right.
Anyways,
I think that's a good end to the first car segment.
wait,
And we'll go
don't you rate it?
Oh, I give it a
Oh.
9.
Oh, a 9. What's
Yeah.
a
missing?
9.
What's missing?
Yeah.
It's a Corolla, Hudson.
Okay, well, all right, I guess I'll go fuck myself then.
It's a 9.
All right, well, they're over here giving me 10s. You're over here like 9.
Yeah, we stroked his ego a little too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
We gotta bring
we
it
got
back
it down,
down.
bring it back a little bit.
All of my ass.
All right, into the next part. So, I know I showed Dalton this website like a little bit last night when we were looking through it. But this is a website called Built for Backroads that I found through Spencer Burke on Instagram. He plugged them, and I looked through them, and I literally look through this thing every single day. It is basically, what do you even call it? It's basically like eBay for like track cars or like drivers' cars, and there's some crazy stuff on here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a car enthusiast Craigslist.
Yeah, there we go. And there's some crazy and really rare stuff on here, like this S2000 track car weighing 2,500 pounds, has a supercharger. It's an AP2. They don't say how many miles it has, but they just say that it has low mileage and it puts down apparently good lap times. And you can see like, oh my god, this mod list is crazy on this thing.
I give it to the S2000s. S2000s, like, they're not very fast cars, but they make really well track cars.
I think this is, oh my god, look at that interior.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing in this thing. This is the Jacob, this is the goal for the oneer, right?
Yeah, it really is.
And this is just some random guy, like, he built this, literally anyone could have built this, and now it's up for sale on this website. And I think the biggest thing about this, because we talked about this earlier about how bring a trailer is a little overpriced sometimes, because you're like bidding for it. But this thing's a full-fledged race car, and they're asking $45,000 for it. I think down here it says the engine, it's a new F22C engine, and it has 16 hours of track time on it. And
Oh, wow.
so it pretty much is a brand new engine. We don't know what's like in terms of the chassis mileage, but I think that's like pretty reasonable for like a full-fledged race car, you know? Like, what do you guys think?
I would say 45K is a lot cheaper than what it's going to cost you to build one from scratch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're just looking to get, I mean, I would definitely not recommend this to someone who's looking for just seat time. I would say if you're looking to get into a track car, already have seat time, you just want to go buy a ready to go, like turnkey race car,
Yeah.
go for it.
That's very, like, intermediate, like, not entry level, but like a step above it. Like, you're not super experienced, but you've got enough seat time to where you're just like, yeah, I can handle this car. It's,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy looking at the mod list for this thing too. And it runs in NASA ST4. So for those of you who don't know, that is a time trial class for, oh, I forgot what it stands for. But basically, like, there you can see like cars like the HKS Evo or some of those like crazy aero cars run in different classes of this same kind of thing. And so this car runs in, I think ST4 is the lowest class for it, which, I mean, it's still pretty fucking fast. Like, look at some of the parts on this car is crazy. Carbon fiber
I guess
doors.
For comparison on like classes, it's kind of like running in the GT4 class instead of GT3 or GT2.
Yeah. And like some of these mods are crazy. Carbon fiber roof, carbon fiber doors, carbon fiber mirror. It's got no headlights. Jay's Racing wing. I think that's really rare. I think that's a really rare wing. It's got like this build list is crazy. Like Jacob said, this build list alone probably costs more than half the price of the car.
Because you gotta take into like consideration the cost of an S2K now is not cheap.
It's like 25
And
grand for a low mileage S2K.
yeah, there's way more than 20K into that car. Because you saw that center console and custom dash and everything. Like, there's a lot of custom work as well. Like, all of that wiring and the suspension and interior, engine bay, all that. That's way more than 20K.
Yeah, and this thing's absolutely crazy. And so we'll go on to the next car and have Jacob just keep talking because this is right up your alley, Jacob. So,
There we go. Absolute dream car that I will hopefully be able to one day afford. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna stick to building my 1M clone. I'm not gonna lie, 58K and what they were asking
80
just
grand.
shy of $80,000.
Yeah, that is a bit much for a 1M,
Yeah.
but
I get it, but I've also seen similar examples and even some lower mileage ones asking around like 60, 65. So I'd say it's like 15,000 over ask.
yeah.
But I could also see it selling at that price because the paint's in mint condition. It's bone stock. It's still got, for the 2011, it's got low miles in my opinion. Like, that's over a decade old and not even 60,000 miles. And you definitely can't go wrong with Valencia Orange.
Oh no, for sure. But
So
like they're yeah,
keep it like that. I mean, 80K is sort of, I guess, a fair value, but I probably wouldn't necessarily pay that much for something like that when similar examples go for less.
it definitely is on the higher end. And I think scrolling through this, we were scrolling through this earlier, there's some crazier stuff in here. Like I know I talked about this 944 for 11.5 with 67,000 miles, which I think is actually kind of crazy because this is, I get it, no one likes this Porsche. Everybody kind of hates the 944. I love the 944. I think this is an absolute steal. There's also this E30 325E with an M30 turbo bolted on it on looks like some pretty grippy tires there. I think those are contact sports on an E30 for about almost just under 400 horsepower.
It's a very solid setup. And also looking at that M5 right there on the left.
Yeah,
God, do those cars sound insane, but I will never own one.
it's got to be a nightmare. What?
There's
Would
a
you?
Golf R.
Okay, let's look at the Golf R.
36K for it.
36K, 35,000
That's
mile, manual,
with a trailer hitch and a big brake kit.
New Speed
That'll work.
RS. Yeah, New Speed RSE 10 wheels. I don't know much about the New Speed wheels. I just know that these are crazy expensive.
Asking 40K though?
35, 36.
What's been done to it?
It's just a big brake kit. Brig.
Big brake kit and the New Speed wheels.
Oh my god! All right, this is where Volkswagen guys get out of hand.
It's
Is
just a
that-
front big brake kit.
Oh, it's not even rear. Yeah, you just did fronts. I mean, I'll give it. It adds value if it's a manual because they didn't. It's hard to find a Golf R in a manual now because they're all DSGs. So I give it that, like from an enthusiast and purist standpoint. But yeah, they're always overpriced. Golf Rs go for crazy prices.
Oh, yeah, it's that one I'd say is a pretty overpriced car for this.
Yeah.
There was another oneer that I think we found yesterday when Jacob was doing something else. Or actually this one's crazy too. So this is another NSA car. This is a TT5 class E36 M3 and they're asking 20 grand for it. And I mean, if I look at this thing's a full-fledged race car. Like this is a $20,000 race car that you can buy from a website.
Wow, it's really on arcades. Real original.
Oh my god.
Damn. I mean, the interior looks nice. It's not bad.
Fully
made to look nice.
stripped.
Race car.
Well, I know it's a race car, but like, it's as far as interiors go, I mean, it's not the worst I've ever seen.
Oh
Oh
my
my
god, he tore it apart. But then, like, look at this mod list. Jacob, those are BBSs apparently,
Oh, BBSs.
or apparently he had BBSs at one point, probably.
Because those are literally just concave arcades.
Yeah, but look at he's got mismatched. Those aren't the arcades. Those are the OE. No, what are those? Are those OEMs?
I don't know what these. This right here, these are
It's a
arcades.
very similar wheel to arcades.
Yeah.
I think this is a LM. It's oh god, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a forged version of the arcades that BBS makes. That it's like a one-piece BBS wheel, and it just looks very similar to the arcades. And I think the only differentiation is that this spoke has a little bit of a bend to it towards the end.
Which is a little odd that you say the forged part because they make forged arcades now.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I don't know. Those might be arcades. I think that might be. I think the BBS in the description might be a different wheel that he's selling it with, which is kind of
The
crazy.
BBS I'm not seeing any of like how BBS is they have the badge on the lip.
It's hard to tell because there's normally they have engraving in like the gaps. We just don't have a picture close enough. But 6-speed manual. I guess the interior is black, even though we saw it. It was I forgot the color. Beige.
I did see that he was smart enough to get a metal expansion tank.
I did see
saw
that.
in.
But I just think that this is sick that you can buy this car, like this, like that there is someone out here that made, like Dalton said, a Craigslist for drivers' cars, like a 29,000 mile Porsche 911 you can buy or get in contact with to buy a right-hand drive Evo. I can't read Roman numerals 4, an Evo 4. There's
42K is a little outrageous.
yeah.
Max.
There's a 2.5 RS in whatever this crazy looking purple is pretty cool. I don't remember the lot. I don't remember ever seeing or hearing of an MX-5 Mazda speed that's turbocharged from the factory.
And
You
then,
can.
I mean, a Hawkeye right there asking 26. I mean, that's just Subaru things.
I mean, yeah, it still reflects some like. And then I think the farther I scroll, the older the listings are. So these are cars that have sat. There's another M3 race car. There's oh man, what did we see yesterday? We saw some. Where was it? A 2002 Boxer
We saw
track
a
car.
Facebook Marketplace listing for 43K
Oh god,
for an M3.
this thing. This is what Dalton and I were talking about yesterday. Porsche Can-Am replica. Like, where the heck are you gonna buy this? It's got two flat 6 Subaru motors put together to create a flat 12.
For the only 35, if you got money to just say fuck you and buy something like that,
That's the car.
Like, this is the car, yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, that's the car. Like, that's the
Oh,
Easter.
was that a turbo clown shoe?
Yeah, turbo clown shoe.
And then
Fully-
I saw a 1M clone down there.
This one has been on the featured at the very top for a while, and I think
Asking
it just got
25
changed.
for a clone, though?
I think it's got really low miles, 63,000 miles. So that
I guess that's not bad. Oh, it does. Oh, I guess it is kind of a true clone.
yeah, so it has the fenders.
Wow.
Those are the
Apex's original.
those are the J Flair's quarter panels. He didn't do the actual like quarter panel swap, but still.
Nice Recaros.
Yeah, but this is what I'd say is a 1M clone done right. And I think a 63,000 mile 135, I think from what I've seen on the market goes for around 25 anyways. And this is a car that's, I mean, I say this is one that's done right, So I don't think it's too bad for what they're asking. But yeah, Built for Backroads, cool website. If you guys are into this kind of stuff, these kind of track backroads like drivers cars, check it out. It's cool, and maybe one day I'll buy a car from here. Maybe one day I'll find something I can afford.
I'd definitely buy a car from there.
I think
Because I didn't know that existed until we were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's cool about it too is that it's all private seller. Most of it's private seller. Like
Yeah.
there's some cars that I'm pretty sure that like GT3 is gonna be a dealership car, but like this 911 C4, it's a track build. It's probably some guy that built this in his garage.
Yeah.
So you can really find everything that is wrong or anything that is done to any of these cars. And I think like this 911 996 is going for 28.5. And I get it. Most of these cars are modded, but most of them have like the mods that will add value to a car like this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Lots
what's
of BMWs and Porsches, I can tell though.
lots and lots of BMWs and Porsches. Lots of WRX and STIs that I think are just the same prices you'd go buy them anywhere else. So
There is a slick top E46 M3 right there though.
yeah. Vanos has been done, rod bearings been done, subframe reinforcements all been done. Mileage is 144,000 miles though.
Ooh,
That's
a
kind of a
nice
lot.
number.
They're asking 45? 35.
Sorry to upset you, Dalton, but another set of arcades.
Yeah. I saw him.
Yeah.
But he did do the main maintenance, which is the rod bearings and the Vanos rebuild. Those
And-
are like two major maintenance things on those cars.
That
This-
intake and front tower brace does look crazy though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and I mean, yeah, some more like tasteful mods. But yeah, that's built for back roads. And I think it's also cool because you can kind of see I've coming a look on here. There hasn't been a 335 E90, so I haven't had any inspiration for this. But I mean, for anyone else, like if someone else is building another E30 E46 and you want some inspiration on like a build and how to do it right, like you have it right here. Like this,
Right.
right? Like it's kind of a cool database at the same time instead of just being an online dealership.
Right.
But-
yeah. If you're, like confused or lost as to like what to do or how to do something mod related, like they're pretty descriptive as to like what they've
Right.
done and
If you look down there at the bottom, it has pretty much a all new cooling system. It's got radiator, water pump, expansion tank, thermostat housing, all the hoses. A common E46 failure point with the subframe has been reinforced.
you know.
Yeah, and a lot of these cars have really in detail mod lists and detailed maintenance done, and it's cool. It's just a cool website. It's cool
Yeah.
checking it out every now and then.
There's a BRZ without a tandem wide body kit and a livery.
What the hell?
And a turbo
Whoa! Click
Oh.
on that one. Let's check that one out.
for 20 grand.
Wow.
Are those niches? What are those? Roadies. They're
Those are roadies. Those are roadies. Those are LASRs.
Yep.
Yep, rotiform wheels. Custom titanium intake. I can't, man. A titanium intake on a BRZ. That's got to be nuts. Is there a picture? Oh, there it is. Yeah. That's like this. I think this thing is sick. This thing's crazy.
Yeah.
It's got an STI lip on it.
Yeah.
You know, I love how you guys just see your cash and say, yeah, only for $20,000. Like as if I have the money for that or any of us.
Well, I'm not saying that we have the money, but for what it is and what's been done to it, that's not bad.
I mean,
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
good.
a stock BRZ with this many miles is probably going for around the same price.
Probably.
With
Yeah.
that, and it's probably been shit on. Let's be honest. It's probably gone through at least a motor. Or
Absolutely swung. Absolutely beat on.
yeah,
I won't lie, the turbo definitely saves it because those NA boxers, they are awful.
Hmm.
I can just imagine showing up to a meet in this, and you would literally break necks because they'd see a BRZ that whistles probably.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, "What the heck? What's going on here?" And I mean, to be honest, just based off of turbo kits alone, that's probably like a $5,000 turbo kit
Yeah.
on top of this custom intake. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I guess we'll go on to the next topic.
Yep.
All right, gatekeeping. It's a nice gate.
One of the
think
biggest
it's-
controversial topics in the car community.
That's a really
Yeah.
nice game. by the way.
Yeah, and I just want to say though, this is a very nice gate. Is very well kept. So
I wonder what kind of LA celebrity lives in that gate.
If you're listening and you need your concrete pressure wash,
Jesus Christ.
Love the company.
Yeah, that concrete's looking past its prime. Just a
yeah,
little
it
bit.
needs a little bit of a wash. All right, gatekeeping. What do we think? gatekeeping the car community.
Mm.
Why the fuck do you do it?
I hate it. It's pointless.
So
Like,
run by me. So as the non-car guy here, run by me like what gatekeeping is here for the people that are watching this that aren't car people.
Okay.
Enthusiasts. Like, what is gatekeeping in the car community?
so gatekeeping in the car community is this concept of no one can be part of the car community unless you are a quote unquote car enthusiast. And if you don't know something, you're not a car enthusiast. And if you're asking questions, no one's gonna. People shouldn't be giving you the answers because you should just already know this somehow, in some magic way. You should just know everything, not ask questions, and that if you don't know something, then you're just stupid. And you like that's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's basically
Jacob and I get a lot of issues with people with gatekeeping, especially being in like the race community and the stance community. Like, you want to talk about guys that hide their wheel specs, hide how they fit a certain, something in the engine bay, or like suspension related stuff. Those guys don't want to share any of that stuff because they want to be different and they want to be original, or it doesn't even have to be about that. Like, but that's what we deal with, is we ask a simple question of like, oh, how did you modify this to get it to fit? We already have it, we're already going to do it, and we're not trying to copy you, but we see that you've done it before, and they don't want to share that information.
and I mean I think it's dumb because like the saying like imitation is the best form of, or what is it? Imitation's a form of,
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
yeah, right? So like if someone's asking like, "Hey, how did you fit those wheels in your car?" I'm not going to go like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Just go find out yourself." I'm going to tell them because like, dude, this like, and most of the time, Dalton and I are older. Dalton's 25, I'm 24. Most of the time people asking us something about our cars are younger than us. They're like fresh in the car community. They're like the quote unquote next generation. And so like I just feel like dumb not, or I feel like just such a big asshole not telling them, because it's like they're like the little brothers in the car community.
Right. And a lot of the times, like when they ask you and I, they're like they're nice guys. Like they just want to know, and yeah, they don't have, maybe they're trying to make friends, or maybe they're new in the car community, and they are the next up and coming, like the newer generation for the car community. So, I feel like us coming together from two different generations to like work together and make the community better instead of gatekeeping will benefit the car community as a whole.
And the other thing too, if you're scared of someone copying you and you want to be original, then your idea wasn't original enough.
Yeah.
Is another way that I see it, because I don't know, especially wheel specs. Wheel specs, why are you gatekeeping wheel specs? I literally use a fitment calculator every time, or the last 2 times I bought a set of wheels, where you just plug in your OEM wheels, or the wheels you have in your car, and then plug in your new set, and it gives you like the difference in what the new set's gonna be. Like, I get it, the information out there, and they should just go and look at it. But like, why would you gatekeep it? I can literally go find out what your wheel fitment is, just from a calculator.
Right. I didn't even know that was a thing. Actually, I'm gonna need you to send that over to
I'll
me.
send you the link. It's so useful. You put in like your first set's offset and everything. It calculates your tire width. It gives you like how much poke and how much deeper it sits in the wheel well. It's like the perfect little. It's so nice. But yeah,
Okay.
I think this is probably the shortest segment we'll do on this podcast, because we kind of all have a universal idea around it.
Yeah.
Hudson, what do you think? Being the non-car guy, not in the car community, how do you feel about gatekeeping?
Honestly, the way that I see it, and the same thing can go with the type of industry and business that I'm in as well. It's like when people ask me questions about like how I do this and how I do that, I am more than willing and open to discuss like how I do certain techniques, how I go about my own original way of, doing a certain thing. And for those of you that don't know, I'm in the acting community and I'm currently trying to get my degree in acting and directing as well. So when I get asked questions after like my shows of people being like, you do this certain part, like I'm more than willing to sit down with you for like a fucking hour and tell you and run you down like the whole process. Like I'm not gonna sit here and sit there and be like, I'm not gonna teach you my techniques. You're not the new generation. Cause like for the most part, I do get asked questions by kids a lot of like how I do what I do. And it's like I'm more than willing to sit down and talk about those things. But when you're that jackass that thinks I have the higher up. Like literally, it's like I have the high ground, and then little Anakin's just trying to basically be like, I want to learn from you. It's like, no, like here are the Padawans. We're gonna teach you how to do this, and we're gonna be more than willing and open to do it because we are kind of becoming the older generation here. Now, granted, our ages would say otherwise, but still, it's like, I mean, we got like what, 16, 15-year-olds asking you guys these car questions usually, like the new kids.
I
And
got
it's,
people older than me asking these questions,
Yeah.
and they just got into cars later than me, or
Yeah.
got into that specific platform later than I did.
Right.
yeah, it's just, and it's like, and the same thing with me too. It's like I get asked questions by a bunch of teenagers all the time about like how I do a certain thing when I'm acting or when I like go on a stage, like how I hold back fear. And it's like, the point of it all is it's gatekeeping is just really fucking stupid. And if you do it, you are one of the most unoriginal, unclever, and non-brain cell motherfuckers I've ever met. Like, grow a backbone. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just grow a fucking backbone, bro. Like, we're all just trying to learn. We're all human. We all make mistakes and errors. But at the end of the day, if you're just going to be a gatekeeping asshole and think that you're the next shit and you're the hierarch because you know one thing that someone else doesn't, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'll give you a backhand. I'll give you a 1-2 backhand. Just get the hell out of here. Like, I don't want to see that shit because it's just stupid. It's really unnecessary. And it also, I don't know if it goes with you guys. It really puts a bad name on you guys.
Yeah.
Like, it makes a bad name on the racing community. It puts a bad name on the stands community. It puts a bad name on whatever community you're in, Andy. Like, it puts a bad name on you guys. And it's not fair to you guys who are just trying to teach the new kids and just have fun doing what you guys do. It's really not fair. And it's not okay. It's behavior that's not conveyed good enough, and it's not something that should be tolerated at all.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I'll say I want to just put one last thing because I just remember this, but I do spend a lot of time on the BMW forums, just looking around at who knows what and like other people's builds and stuff. And there are some people that are like have really weird questions that are like pretty obvious, and but every now and then like I find a question like that or an original post like that, and some guy replies like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Just go find out for yourself." And it's always so ironic because like that's what they're doing. They're on a forum. They ask a question on a forum. Like that's the point of this, of like what this is. And like I don't know, they're just the people who gatekeep. I think you're just so stupid, and you're so hypocritical because at one point you were probably the one asking a question.
Yeah.
And I just want to add in a couple words real quick before we switch topics. If you're gatekeeping, shit, I forgot what I was gonna say because Hudson started talking for so long.
Sorry.
Well,
Oh man.
man, if it helps you jog your memory, just remember that this very well kept, very clean gate with the very bad concrete in front is what we're staring at.
Yeah, by the way, if you need pressure wash,
You saw that shit.
with gatekeeping, you weren't really that original. Like I've asked a couple guys. I'm now into like the suspension tuning aspect because I'm kind of dialed in on how much power I actually want the car to make. It's gonna be a track car, not a drag car, so where it's sitting is perfect for what it needs to do. And so I asked some questions, and they asked like they did rocket science or some shit, when in reality they just threw in some M3 control arms, BC coils, and it's like you weren't really that creative in the first place, and you're mainly using off-the-shelf parts. Like you're not fabbing this stuff up or anything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, for sure.
something accessible to the majority of the public if they have the funds to do so. You just buy it and install it, and that's just kind of my thoughts, is that if you're not doing custom fab work and stuff, just share the info. And even if you're doing custom fab work, maybe they can go to the same shop, or maybe you want to help fab up said part. It's just, you're not that different. Just share the knowledge. If you go back to old forums, everyone was willing to share the info, or they were also just more blunt. And like if you had, for example, Andy, a 325i and you wanted to turbo it, they would just be like, sell it, buy a 335. It's just, I kind of wish we could go back to that time where it was less of a douchey community.
You mean the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. And we'll carry on to the next section we have. This one's got to be a little short. We're up to a minute and 15, or an hour and 15 minutes now. So we'll keep this one pretty short. But dream cars. We'll start off with the two oldies. Uh, okay. This is Dalton? No, Hudson.
Oh, it's me. That's my dream car. Ooh.
Why? You want to talk about why you want an El Camino, a first generation, I guess, a second generation El Camino?
So before you fuckers sit there and say, "Oh, what?" Because of the movie El Camino, no. Like, even though that shit was clean, and Clint Eastwood takes very good care of his El Camino in real life, but it's a very clean car. It's very nice looking, and I know people are gonna shit on me and be all like, "You want a fucking '70s El Camino, like fucking top?" Like, what? They're gonna make fun of me for that? The top part, the top of the car. Like, I don't understand like why anyone would give me hate for that. Like, I whatever. Your opinion is your opinion, but the way that I see it is just like it's a very nice car, and I'm sure it drives really nice too. From what the sounds of it to, the engine's very very clean. And for the most part, from what I hear, El Camino owners are very, very passionate. Like right there, look at that shit. Look at that engine. That's beautiful.
I feel like it's such a niche community.
It is.
That's why they're so nice.
Yeah,
Wait.
it's like it's low and few, low and few. That's how I describe it. But
Speak-
it's like they're very passionate about their El Camino. They
Speaking,
love talking about it.
yeah. Speaking of, on the cruise this morning, there was a guy that showed up in an El Camino. I think it was a second generation El Camino, and he was just like the nicest dude ever. It was like a blue El Camino. And then when we left on the cruise, it was really sad, but we had to sit there for a bit for us to get out of the rowing center where the cruise started. And he was on the side of the road because it overheated because we were sitting there.
Oh,
And dude, and the best thing is like there was like three other guys that had also stopped a guy Lexus IS, a BRZ, or in two BRZs, and they were helping him and trying to figure out how to get it to cool down so he can come with us on the cruise. And it's just like the nicest dude I've ever met at a car meet or a car event ever.
And I just because I'm not up to date on my El Camino knowledge by any means.
I don't know shit either. It's a clean car.
Is it a soft top? Like, is it a convertible?
No,
It is
it's
convertible. Wait, that's not convertible?
this one's a hard top. This one just has a vinyl roof, is what the description said.
Oh, I thought it was actually a soft top.
Did
Wait.
they come in a soft top or removable hard top?
Some did.
I think they can't. I don't know. I don't know if they did. I think a
No,
lot
I
of them
don't
had the
think
vinyl roof.
Yeah, I don't think El Caminos ever came in a soft
Because
top.
for some reason I have a feeling I've seen a drop top El Camino before.
No, you're thinking of the Jeep Wrangler convertible thing that came out that one time.
No, not the Gladiator.
El Caminos are cool though. I think, don't these things have like the rev limiter or the rev gauge on the hood, or am I thinking of a different thing? I think it's a
No.
Chevelle tachometer. God damn it, I'm an idiot. Rev thing. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Dalton's dream car is. This is really unexpected for you to say this, based off
Coming
what
from
you drive right now.
the stance guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a 90 or a 72. I don't really know the generation, like from what year they started to what year they ended, but I love that generation. I've always been into like old muscle car, like boxy muscle cars. Like I've always loved that boxy. It's just simple. Like there's no crazy body lines to it. It's just simple.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think that one is that a 4-speed or a 5-speed?
I just missed it.
Okay. Yeah, and here's like a big thing, and like I'll probably get flamed on this, but that's a true Hemi. Like that's a real Hemi. Like all the newer trucks that still say Hemi, those aren't real Hemis. Like those are not real. That's a real Hemi to me.
When I hear Hemi, I think old ass V8
Yeah,
with a carburetor
yeah,
and just sounds like a fucking machine.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Just-
gotta be at least 7 liters. Because I mean, these things were big. Like some of these things were huge, like fat cars, but
I
they
think
are.
it's over a 6-liter. I know that.
Because it also said I think it said 440 cubic inches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
big
it's a
block.
440 big block.
Yeah. You get like 4 miles to the gallon.
Because like you've seen the engine bay of my dad's car. That's 302 cubic inches in the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big motor
And
stuff.
that's a big ass
Yeah.
engine. Like no wonder those hoods were so long back then.
Yeah.
This
They had to fit all of that into there.
I'll take this over a Hellcat or a Demon any day.
Oh, any day. Yeah, any day. I just
I
and going back to like the interior, like it's so simple and like I just love the black interior, just leather, and yeah, like there's not much to it. It looks like it's been Yeah, it's got the bigger tack on the side there. He's got some pods, gauges in there, but it's pretty simple. Like there's not much to them. So like it's a driver's car. Like there's no extra added like electronics or like features or the drive assist or self-driving. Like you are in the car and like you're feeling the car. Like that's a true driver's car to me.
Oh, this one specifically has a 727 torque flight automatic, the upgrade
Hmm.
torque converter, and through a limited slip Mopar 8.75 inch rear end with 355 gears. So this one specifically is a pretty cool resto mod, I think is
Yeah.
so.
It
But
does have a Holly 4-barrel carb, which I know they do a lot of LS stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, so this thing, like Dalton said, this thing is a true Hemi. Like this is and then Mopar. When I hear Mopar, I don't think of the new Challengers and Chargers. I think of something like this. Like
Yeah.
this is peak Mopar, you know.
Yep. That was yeah. I don't really care for any of the new Chargers or Challengers. Like, don't get me wrong, they're cool and they're stylish. Like, they're fast cars, but yeah, I prefer something that looks cool and sounds cool over something that is not very. And like these cars were, in my opinion, way better built back then. Like
Steel
the
body.
right, like the quality is there, like the craftsmanship, like all these cars now just come straight off the assembly line. Like all robots build them. The quality just isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, a lot of older cars have more character than like the newer cars.
Right.
Less
Like,
heart behind the car.
Right.
yeah, and there was so many trim levels back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know where to start, but like just the Mustang alone, there's a Boss 302, a Boss 429, there's a GT, there's and then like all the other like V6 options I think that they had on top of the different variations of the GT 500, GT 350. Like it's just crazy. Back in the day, these cars had so many options, and they were all hand built.
Yep.
You know,
And
no,
just kind of touching on that real quick, me and Dalton actually had this talk on the way to dinner earlier, is that old cars had more to them. Like my dad's Boss 302, the reason they brought back the 302 was to go against the E92 M3 in GT racing. It's like the cars actually had a purpose back then. It wasn't just for sales numbers.
it
Mhm.
wasn't just Dodge going, "What's the biggest motor we can put into everything that we have?" Because
Yeah.
we can. No, I love them. Challenge. I do like the Charger a little bit better from this generation. I like the little boxier
Yeah.
um, Vin Diesel look a little bit better, but the Challenger is. I mean, both cars are really cool still.
Yeah.
Because since it's a resto mod, are those newer Challenger headlights? Or
Oh,
have they always had that look?
Oh, I didn't even notice that. They might be the newer.
I don't think there's a front on pick. I think that's the last one.
Mm,
Yeah.
it might be.
Oh, here, look. So that's not the factory motor too. The factory motor is a 318 cubic inch 2-barrel engine, which by the way is still really, really big. This is cool. They're definitely cool, and I think, don't quote me, but I think there is a second generation Challenger or Charger that does time attack. So
Really.
I have to see if I can find it later. We'll probably talk about it off the podcast. But these old cars, I mean, these things handled pretty well.
Yeah. For the technology and the time, that was like elite.
Yeah, pretty cool. And then I guess it's really funny because you and Hudson have this, both have really old classic car dream cars. Then there's Jacob
Yeah.
and I.
Yeah.
I
Good
think
segue to the next one.
I'll go first because I think mine's a little bit less Mine's less expensive than Jacob is. It's still pretty damn expensive, but
You mean less expensive? That shit sold for 251 grand.
okay, but her MSRP was cheaper than what you chose. Okay, not by a lot, but it is. But my all-time dream car, 997 GT2. There's just something about the 997, and I will always pick, like, if you lined up every generation of Porsche, I'll always pick a 997, like, out of whatever crazy 992, 991.2, whatever they come up with. I think this car is the last, like the styling wise is like the last like classic Porsche. It just has all the styling cues of old school Porsches, but it's just sleek. Like, it's like the, what is it, the second generation 911. Always forget what it's called. It's like they took that one and then just molded the body and came up with the 997, and I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then the GT2, it's hard to beat the GT2. It's a rear-wheel drive turbo that only came in a manual.
And when I hear Porsche, I know they're infamously known for their PDK now, but when I hear Porsche, I think a 6-cylinder boxer with a 6-speed manual and rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this, I just love the 992 and the look of them. I don't think this is stock, but I would not be surprised if this is stock with this carbon intake system. Oh, and then the flat six, I just love, like, I know some people hate it, some people love it. I just think the sounds of a screaming flat six going through a set of turbos is insane.
And just having the opportunity to drive a modern GT4, Cayman GT4 on the track this previous summer, like, yeah, it was slower than my car, but I've never driven a car that felt so planted. It was a PDK. It shifted at just a fucking insane rate. And even pushing the car, it felt like it wasn't breaking a sweat.
Oh yeah, and 100%. And unfortunately, my only experience with Porsche has come through a racing sim. I've only been able to drive Porsches on a computer, so it's not quite the same. But even then, you can just feel it that this car is meant to go around corners, and it's meant to do things that most cars can't. There's a reason that Porsche is called the king of the Nürburgring, and they have so many records and trophies under Porsche. And I mean, 997 GT2 kind of just embodies that for me. Like, it's the styling on the 997 is just timeless.
It really is. And if there's anyone listening who happens to own a 996, I'm sorry, but the headlights are just atrocious. And the 997 is just aesthetically way more pleasing. And
is that the ones that got the like little extension on the headlight?
The frog eyes.
They don't have that.
Yeah.
Like, I would say iconic, just oval or circle headlight.
Yeah.
They kind of derailed from that design, and I think that's my main reason.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't quite have the look.
Yeah, and the new
expect your Porsche.
And this is the last like narrow Porsche. Like, I think after this is before the 991, and the 991 was when we saw like the 991 GT2 RS with like the huge flared fenders. It looks more like their race cars than their street cars.
They're just, modern cars in general are so much bigger and wider than they used to be, that I think dialing it back even just to the 2000s is that perfect sweet spot of wide but not too wide.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think it's funny that you say that, because you literally have the like pinnacle modern supercar as your dream car.
Yes. My dream car is a British Racing Green McLaren 765 LT. I mean, just look at the thing.
And now this one's a Spider. Like, would you get a Spider or would you get the hardtop?
I would get a hardtop personally.
You know, it looks like that one car from GTA Online.
God damn it.
God damn it, Hudson.
I had to say it looks like, what is it, the Xantoro? It almost looks like the Xantoro a little bit, but whatever.
I just mean, looking looking at the interior of a McLaren and hearing one and everything. Like, look at those seats. You feel like you're in a cockpit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I love McLarens, and I know they got the bad rep because they caught on fire. There was that run that had the weird they put styrofoam around the fuel tank or something, and it corroded, and they would just, you know, spontaneously combust. And it claimed a lot of really cool cars like the Senna, the 720S, and the 650S. All there was a run that had those issues, but like just the sounds of a McLaren, the looks of the McLaren, like the McLaren, in my opinion, is the best looking supercar, hypercar out there right now. And any McLaren, the Senna, 765, 720S, you name it, it's the best looking car. It's class.
And just having also met McLaren owners, out of all the supercar and hypercar owners that I've had the pleasure of meeting, they've all been the most down to earth and least arrogant supercar owners I've met.
I think part of it too is that, I guess, the infamous McLaren reliability. Like, but you have to think they're a really small company.
They
Like,
don't have the like history that Ferrari and Lamborghini and stuff have. Like, they're still kind of, I wouldn't quite say in the early stage, because if you look at what the MP4
before
12C,
12, yeah.
um, it's still an older one of theirs, but Ferrari and Lamborghini have been going for decades to be where they're at now, and McLaren came in super late to the supercar like production, and they're still putting crazy numbers and cars out.
I think the McLaren F1 was their first road car. 'Cause they did F1 racing before, like they're a big F1 team. But I'm pretty sure that the McLaren F1 was their first car, like road car, and that thing was insane. That thing held the record for a really long time.
I mean, just look at the arrow, and it, like that second picture, it literally looks like a spaceship.
It really does, and I always love the way that McLaren always incorporates their logos into the cars. Like every car has that McLaren headlight. You can't see my mouse, but like um this front McLaren headlight, if you just drew a line around that outside edge off the top, that is the McLaren logo, like right there. And for a company that doesn't have a lot of history in terms of making street cars, they definitely are able to contribute that into like every car that they make. Every car has the same like design cues and design language, and that's really cool in the modern car market.
Like, look at that front splitter design and the arrow going from the side of the car, from the headlight and the ducts through the brake well or the wheel well and everything. Like, it's just,
It's
I'm,
elegant.
it's a work of art.
Yeah,
Does it make you bust a little bit?
It does.
Makes you bust a little bit? Yeah.
It does.
that's what
And
it sounds like. Yeah.
that spec in particular, with the British Racing Green and the yellow calipers, fuck, you can't go wrong with it. And it has the yellow door cards and seat belts to match with the calipers. Like, I don't think the spec gets much better than that, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, it's every McLaren is just so sick, and it's a car that just draws attention no matter where it is or what it does.
Ferrari, Lamborghini, great cars, don't get me wrong. But if I'm getting a supercar, I'm going British.
All right,
That's fair.
that's very fair. I mean, yeah, and I mean, I guess we'll go on to the next section. We'll end with Jacob nutting on a 765 LT. We'll go into I'll let Jacob talk about this once it loads here, but this is another BMW. It's another N55. This one is a 135i.
All right. So right here we have my cousin Dylan's 135i. It's a 2011 135i with an M55 and a 6-speed manual. He bought the car bone stock and over the years has slowly modded it. It was the first car to run a dock race DR700 kit. It's a bottom mount, by the way, with a 6266 precision ball bearing turbo. And It's got a catless downpipe with an N54 mid pipe, which actually came off of my car. And it's got a simple fuel setup. It's not running port or anything. It's just a Precision Raceworks bucketed stage 2.5 fuel pump on regular 92 octane down in Oregon. Transmission setup is an N54 era 6-speed manual because his N55 trans couldn't handle the sauce, in his words. It's running an M factory single mass flywheel and a spec stage 3 clutch. And here's where things got a little bit tricky for him for tuning and everything. It's tuned by Wedge Performance, who is also down in the Oregon, Portland area, with a MHD flash, custom made by them, with a N54 charge pipe and tiled blow-off valve, which was ran into a max solenoid wired into the stock N55 diverter valve to actuate it. I was visiting down there over the summer, picking up some tires, and he ran me through it. It's a crazy setup. He had to do way more work to make his max solenoid work more than mine did, because that means that he's got a blow-off valve on top of his diverter valve to make it work. Now, getting into the cosmetic aspects of his car, he's got a 1M style front and rear bumper, and he's working on developing a bolt-on solution quad tip exhaust for all 1 Series battery trays, which would make it a lot easier for all 1 Series to run quad tips, as the main reason the regular 135s and 128s don't have it is the way the battery tray actually comes down is you can't get the piping over, and when you can get the piping over, let me rephrase that, but it's extremely close to, I believe it's the charcoal canister and fuel lines, that it gets way too hot to run safely. And then just kind of going off that, it is wrapped in 3M satin dark gray. He wrapped it himself, and it's laying frame on some 18-inch Arc 8s.
We're all about that.
Using airlift 3-pieces bags. The car, just gonna plug it real quick, PDX Vert on TikTok if you want to watch how it was made. He fabricated a custom trailer on bags, which is also sitting on Arc 8s, and it plugs into the car's air source via the tow hitch and can be fully controlled via paddle by the driver's seat. The trailer was then also wrapped in the same satin dark gray over black paint. The trailer itself is set up for a 2019 Sea-Doo Spark Trix, and at the moment he's working on converting it to a small flatbed so that you could tow a motorcycle with it if that's what you wanted to do. He is getting ready for it to be sold, but overall, in his opinion, the car's been a good daily and show car that puts down some decent power and has been decently reliable and trouble-free while being fun and an expensive learning process. I do just want to throw it in there. I don't know if you can really tell from any of the pictures, but on his front bumper, it's actually in the wrap. There's, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not embroidered, but it bulges out with his Instagram handle.
Like you
Actually,
put a sticker down and then wrapped it over it.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
see it, like right where the license plate mount would be.
where the license plate would be, it actually says PDX Vert underneath.
Where is it?
the wrap.
This picture. You can kind of, yeah, there it is.
It's really hard to tell. You might have to find another picture of it, but
There, that one?
yeah, it's really hard. You can definitely tell in person.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you can see there.
Look at that.
It's PDX Vert underneath the wrap.
That's really fucking sick. See, now that's original.
Mm-hmm.
And just something that was left out, those headlights actually weren't done by Bay Optics or Bob Group or anyone. he actually got all the parts and sent them out to a guy to get them built. It's actually this post right here.
What do you send him to?
Um, I think he adds them right there at the bottom of the post. Rad Design Concepts, and those headlights, I think he said actually only ran him about $500
Really?
to do the clear lenses, the eyebrow, black out the housings, and everything.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like I know where I'm sending out my headlights.
Yeah.
So
This thing's
that
fucking
is
sick.
my cousin Dylan's bagged 135i convertible.
Do you know how much it pushes?
Gray with bloody guts.
Do you know how much it pushes with that dock bottom mount?
I think at the moment he said it's probably pushing around 480 to the wheels. He did try to run a bit more boost, but he said it was running into some detonation issues.
Oh god.
So they had to pull back the boost to essentially save the motor.
Yeah.
But now it's sitting right at a sweet spot, and he's been dailying it, and it's been doing its work.
Do you imagine pulling up to the boat launch with all the boat guys and you just have a bag car and a bag trailer?
He has a picture somewhere of him actually parked next to all the trucks, and he's just super low. It was before he even got bags.
Wow.
But that is his car now, tucking 275s in the rear.
Wow.
He's tucking the front too, and I know that tucking front on a E82 is crazy. Or I guess a E88.
That
It's
would be
pretty
the
crazy.
88, yeah. And there's so many more small things to go with it. Like he's got RW carbon front kidney grills. He's got the M carbon fiber mirror caps. The interior, he has, I know, a couple other little bits going on with it. But all around, it's just such a sick car. And when he was at Slammed Enough Portland in that picture, he got so much attention. Because when was the last time you went to a car show and you saw a convertible laying frame with a trailer laying frame behind it?
Never. I've never. He's the first that I've ever seen do that.
It's sick. And I don't think you can't see it here. The other picture had it, but he has BMW center caps on the trailer. Right there, I think. Oh, that might just be an Apex center cap, and the lighting might just make it look like it says BMW.
I
But
believe they are just the standard black Apex center caps.
but I think that. I mean, just the attention to detail to match your trailer to your car in terms of like the wheels on top of the paint / wrap is pretty cool.
There was absolutely no corners cut in the process of building this car.
Oh yeah, not at all. It's crazy, and it's an N55. Anything above 400 horsepower in N55 absolutely blows my mind because it's not something you hear every day.
And I don't think he actually touched on it in the description, but to fit the kit, he actually had to modify his motor mount on the passenger side to make the kit fit.
Oh yeah, because N55s sit at I think a lower angle than N54s do, so you have less room down there.
Yeah, he had to modify the motor mount to get the turbo kit to fit in there.
And it's a bottom mount. I mean, that's functional. It's not. It doesn't just look cool. It's functional. I think that's the big thing too.
So when he says bottom mount, what does that mean for people that don't know what bottom mount is?
So bottom mount is when you see, if you're familiar with N54s or really any big single turbo car in general, you see that turbo on top of the engine bay.
Right.
Whereas in this, it's mounted down where the factory turbo would be on an N55 almost. And it's hidden away. It helps with heating and everything. Like if you look right there, he didn't actually have to move his washer tank at all.
Yeah.
I had to move mine into the wheel well. But it's just, there's so much more that went into it than just a standard like single turbo setup on these cars.
Right.
That bottom mount just to make it fit.
And I don't know if Jacob said it, but he is the first N55 to have a bottom mount, a dock race bottom mount kit made, because it technically is not a N55 bottom mount kit, right?
I don't believe so. I think it was the first N55 bottom out. Like, because I believe Doc Race is down in Oregon.
They are, because
And
them
so
and Wedge
he
are
was
both.
able to work locally with them, if I'm remembering correctly, or at least had an easier line of connection with them because he's local to make it work.
Now I also want to know why did he want the N54 mid pipe? Because I know every 1 Series owner wants the N55 mid pipe.
So actually, his car was too loud for him. The exhaust I have on my car, the Burke mid pipes and stuff, I bought off of him. And then this past summer, he bought my mid pipes so that he could quiet it down and fab up something of his own.
Like, yeah, because I think that's really cool too. Like, I've lately been very, very deep into the rabbit hole that is exhaust systems, and you hear a lot of, especially with our cars nowadays, where everyone's running the VRSF race, everyone's running a muffler delete with, catless downpipes. There's no originality anymore in the exhaust setups, and this is definitely, definitely a one of a kind BMW build, even though he has arcades.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out. Everything else is very, very unique, very, very one of a kind. But the wheels are the one negative side of it for
I
me.
will actually touch on that real quick. Is he's planning on making his own wheels.
Shoot,
He already has, unless he got rid of them, and I was unaware of it. He has his own BBS barrels and lip ready to go, and he's gonna fabricate or machine, I guess, his own face of the wheel.
shoot, that would be sick.
So he just has done so much to the car. He has no fear of doing his own work that it's just refreshing to see something different.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because no one touches E88s really. You always see the
No.
coupe.
And anyone with an E88 wants to get rid of it. Nobody wants to do anything with it. They just want, I want either to get into an E92 or an E82.
Yeah, so it's just seeing something like this done to an E88 M55 as well is just it's crazy to me.
What are we rating it? Where's Hudson? Is he still with us?
Yep.
Yeah. Still listening to you guys.
What are your thoughts?
So the way that I see it, it's a very, very solid, clean like build. Like as far as BMWs go, like just the fact that he was able to get that shit to go convertible is fucking nuts. And right off the gate, adding a tow hitch on the back of it, like where have you seen another BMW that actually does that kind of shit? Like not very often, if not at all. So, and just like to touch on your points too, Jacob. I mean, shit, just the fact that like he was able to install a lot of things that no other BMW owner has ever done before, like that's beyond a lot of the like exceptional of greatness and just also dedication and time and money and also just the right placements for the right time. You can just from looking at this guy alone and like this guy's build on his car, you can definitely even from the non-car guy here, like you can tell that this guy he was very, very like he was very passionate. He was very enthralled, and he was very, very like into his car to the point where, like you said, he turned absolutely no corners, and he never cut them, like at all. Like this man made sure that every detail, every down to the last little minute detail and bit has been absolutely touched. And even then, oh, was that what it looked like before the white?
Yeah, the white with the red guts goes hard though.
But like shit, I mean, like looking at that from like day one to like where he is now, I mean, like you can just this man put a lot of fucking work into his car, and it definitely looks it's very, very original. Like you want to talk about original because we like to show people that are original, but this is originality right here at its finest, and this is just yeah, this is peak male performance if I've ever seen it before.
And we have reached his old bagged E36 vert.
Oh god.
Yeah, another vert.
So shit. Overall, I mean, the way I gotta rate it, I mean, that's a solid fucking 9. Period. The only thing that I would like to see, I mean, I know this is just another shits and giggles kind of thing, but like what I would like to see, I want to see him camera the fucking thing. Could you imagine if he camered it? Like, just imagine that for a second.
That would be kind of
Close your eyes and imagine this thing cambered, and there you go. But no, I mean that's a very solid 9 out of 10 build, and personally, that's just this is peak Mel performance, and this is what dedication and time looks like. Like, you want to talk about time on a card? This is it.
And Dylan, if you're listening, please, for the love of God, do not sell it. I know you want to, but please don't sell it and buy an E36.
He misses the old one, doesn't he?
He wants that. He wants a slow daily again.
And his other one was a vert too.
Yeah.
He really likes the verts.
Also in gray.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go next. I'm gonna agree with Hudson. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. My two things that keep it away from that 10 out of 10 is one, the apexes, especially since we got towards the bottom here. Jacob's gonna hate me for saying this, but he's got, I don't know if those are real or not, but the 666Ms on this thing, I think look crazy.
They were real 666Ms.
Like, I think this looks so crazy. And this is original. Like I'd say, like this kills it in the originality department, because not a lot of cars can fit 666Ms, and not a lot of cars can make them look good. And I have never seen a oneer with 666Ms, and I think this looks so good. But other than that, I think it, like Hudson said, is a very solid build, and it's very, very different. It's super original, and just the actual custom work that has gone into this car, like not like off the shelf shit that he threw on, but like actual things that no one else has done before, is crazy. And props to him. And I really hope that one day, Jacob, you get him to come up so I can see this car in person.
Yeah.
I'm really trying, man. I've been trying forever to get him up here, or for us to go down there and see what's up.
Shoot, we'll plan a trip to the employee store while we're down there.
Yeah.
There's our reason to go.
I give that one a 9 as well. The only thing that I don't like, and I've rated his car before, and he knows it too, that I don't really care for the vert on it. I think it's cool, but I prefer BMWs have hard tops. I think he just looks way more aggressive with a hard top, and the fact that he has apexes as well, because everyone knows. And if you don't know, listeners, I hate apexes on BMWs because every BMW owner runs apexes.
You know, can we stop talking about apexes?
It's really funny because
But I do give him credit that, like, it's pretty cool that he's making his own custom wheels. Like, I think that's like, that brings it to a 10 for me. If he was going to keep the apexes, it would be a 9, but so I actually changed my rating. It's a 10 when he gets those wheels fully built and he puts them on, because I'm super excited to see the wheels that he puts on there.
All right. Well, call me biased. It's a 10.
That's because you're his cousin.
It's not just because I'm his cousin, but it's also, it's a fucking 1 Series. They're my favorite BMWs. Everything he's done to it, if I were to do it to my car, I would do all that to my car if I had one, the money at the moment. But two, just everything just works so well together that it's a 10 in my eyes. Because I remember getting the text at work. It was like 10 in the morning, and I'm cleaning these windows, and I get a text saying, "I bought barrels and lips." I'm like, bro, what? And it's just, everything was done so well, and the custom trailer and being on bags, satin gray with bloody guts, everything. I wish we did have an updated interior shot on the Insta. I'll have to probably just grab a picture from him that we can plug in here real quick. But it's just, everything was done perfect in my eyes, and it's just a 10.
I also don't know.
Texas look good.
God damn it, Jacob.
I also don't know if someone's ever said this before, Jacob, but his car is literally the inside-out version of your car.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, you turn his car inside out, it's yours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where we'll end it. Episode 2 went for an hour and 57 minutes.
Hey, we beat last time's
We
record.
beat last time by 3 minutes, but
Hell yeah.
this is getting fun. I think we can definitely get. This is something that we can definitely keep doing. And
Yeah.
when this episode comes out, if anyone wants your car featured, let us know. DM one of us. Because this was very, very last minute finding a car to feature.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dylan. Sorry for the late night text.
Yeah.
But appreciate you taking the time to respond and give us a full breakdown on it.
Yeah, and it's a fucking sick car. And we'll end it here. PDXvert on Instagram. Give him a follow. And we will catch you guys in the next one.